How about you be on your back the whole game too, you punk?
Yeah, but you gon' feel it, Cooley. I'm telling you, you gon' feel it.
I told you keep that camera ready, you might miss something.
We're going to be in your face and letting you know the real talk.
This is the NFL, which stands for not for long.
And welcome to your Week 17 edition of the Not For Long Pro Football Show. Noah Gronniger, Clint, Switzer, and we are playoff bound. Some of these teams are, some are not. We've got some big matchups this weekend.
We do, and I tell you what, the AFC playoff picture is all set, at least the teams anyway. Seeding still on the line this week. You see some of the matchups up here. A lot's to be determined. For instance, the Kansas City Chiefs. Will they be a 2 seed? Can they jump up, get that home playoff game like
Maybe
they
with
need?
Derek Carr breaking his fibula, that is our one chance. If the Broncos will do us a little favor, although they might not want to after that Dontari Poe touchdown pass. But if they can just get that win, the Chiefs should beat the Chargers in San Diego, and we should be the 2 seed.
Prospects for the Raiders going forward with Matt McGloin. Very unfortunate incident to see David Carr break that fibula. Their season it's in the balance now. I don't think that anyone expects much from them going forward, including maybe even a 50-50 prospect of going into Denver and winning a team that looks to have quit on the season in the Denver Broncos. But I think they're going to at least bring it in this game, try to get a win going into the offseason. But where do you see Oakland going from here? They're very likely they could still be a 2 seed in the playoffs, but
they can. Unfortunately, you look at that and you say Matt McGloin, he's not bad enough. Like he's a decent quarterback out there. He can make some throws. We saw that in the Colts game. He had to make a big third down throw to get them a first down and salt the game away, and he did exactly that. I like his moxie back there. He's willing to make the throws, go downfield, throw it in tight windows. We've seen that when he was a quarterback a few years ago for them when they were struggling, trying to find somebody. He came in and he's done decent. He's able to throw the football around, and with Crabtree and Cooper out there, I mean, he can do some things. And this Raiders team, although when they go into the playoffs, I don't see much from them. I like their chances.
Well, Happy New Year to everyone out there watching. GreatAmericanSportsNetwork.com. That is our website. We thank you so much. And for those listening on iTunes, our show is now available in audio format on iTunes.
Sir.
If you are tired of just looking at us.
Check out the podcast version,
Tired of looking at all the wonderful bells and whistles we bring you here on the Great American Sports Network set. The Not For Long Pro Football Show, guys. And we have a big guest coming up. We're going to be talking about all things NFL, maybe some NFC South tidbits, some of the NFC playoffs with Michael Clayton. He's the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, played college football at LSU, won a national title with Nick Saban. Going to be talking to him.
Little time with the Giants. It'll be good to catch up with him and just ask him about this Bucs team, where he kind of sees it going in the NFC playoffs, the NFC South, why the Panthers fell, and obviously the Atlanta Falcons, the head of that division.
I want you to right now, we talk about the NFC, and it's very convoluted to me. I can't quite get a grip on what the NFC is bringing to this thing. Rate your top 4 teams right now. If you had to seed it, records aside, how are your top 4 teams looking right now?
Well, you got to go with the Cowboys, number 1. They're impressive. Those rookies, Elliott and Dak Prescott. You got Des Bryant out there to worry about, too. They've got the trio back when it was Aikman, Smith, Irvin. Now it's Dak, Ezekiel, and Des out there. So they're my number 1. Then you got to look at the Packers. They've really come on ever since Aaron Rodgers says, I think we can run the table. Well, they have. You didn't have to think about it. He's guaranteed it. I think they beat the Lions this weekend to win the division. So the Packers are my number 2. Gets tough from there. I might go Falcons 3 and Seahawks 4. Because the Seahawks, they lost Earl Thomas in that secondary, that leader, that guy, that rangy player that can go all around that backfield and make huge plays for them. They're missing him. That offense hasn't been the same. They don't have a running game, so the Seahawks come in at my number 4.
Well, I like that. I still think that the power is on the AFC side of things. You look at what New England's doing. New England has to go to Miami, of course, on Sunday, and where Tom Brady is 6-8 on the road playing at Miami. Obviously, that doesn't really factor in here. The Dolphins already have their playoff spot. They're probably going to be the 6th seed regardless. So what are they playing for? I mean, just trying to get an upset here to try, and New England still has to win and have, either get a win or have the Raiders lose to lock up the 1 seed. It's not over with yet, but it still looks, it's pretty stamped clear here.
It is. I mean, you look at the Patriots playing the Dolphins now. Tom Brady hasn't had a great record in Miami. I think 6-8 on the road against the Dolphins, but there's just going to be too much. They're still playing for that 1 seed. If the Raiders win and the Patriots lose, the Raiders get the 1 seed. So Bill Belichick will not sit his players. They are ready to roll, and I think they just mop the floor with the Dolphins. And look, you mentioned how the NFC, like, they don't have the strength as a unit there, but you look in the AFC, you've got Matt McGloin for the Raiders. You've got Tom Savage for the Texans. The Dolphins, you've got Matt Moore. Who knows if Ryan Tannehill will be able to come back in these playoffs from that sprained knee. So you're looking at a Tom Brady and a Ben Roethlisberger as the class of the AFC playoffs when it's more spread
and Alex
out
Smith
in the NFC. No.
for the Chiefs. Alex Smith, 13 touchdowns
13
on the
touchdowns
season.
is not going to cut it there in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see. We also don't have a pass rush with Justin Houston being out with his knee and inflammation. We don't have a run game, so it's going to be an uphill battle for the Chiefs to see what they can do in those playoffs.
Even with a win, even with a 2 seed, even if the Chiefs are able to secure that 2 seed, get the bye week, get some people healthy. Justin Houston, try to get that inflammation down. Try to see about Spencer Ware and his rib injury. Try to just get some people healthy. How big is it for the Chiefs to try to wrap this up?
It's pivotal. They have to have it for these injuries, for these players to heal. Hopefully get a Justin Houston back. Get a home game, even though it looks like it'll be against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which you don't really want to have to face. But if you want to get to a Super Bowl, you got to beat these teams. You're going to have to get through and beat the Tom Brady's and Ben Roethlisberger's, these great quarterbacks. And you don't want the Dolphins to win and come in and then play the Raiders or something. You don't want people to look back at your Super Bowl championship and say, oh, we didn't have to play Tom Brady. You didn't have to play Ben Roethlisberger. Forget your Super Bowl. You're not real Super Bowl champs. You have to beat the best team. So.
Well, with that being said, we want to go ahead and welcome our guest. He led all rookies in 2004 with 80 catches, over 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He won a national championship for the Bayou Bengals and the LSU Tigers in 2003, playing for Nick Saban. It is our guest at this time, Michael Clayton. Michael, welcome to the show, man. How's everything going?
I'm blessed, man. Getting excited about the new year rolling in here quickly.
You're a first-round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you see in this Buccaneers squad now with Jameis Winston? Obviously, Vincent Jackson went down. Doug Martin is being sat to a coach's decision, and it looks like they need about 10 things to happen to make the playoffs, so that doesn't look like it for them, but it does look like they have a bright future.
Yeah, well, not this year. You know, when Jameis came in last year, I saw the way that he played, and I said in about 4 years they'll be contending for a world championship, and this is only year 2. And to be in that predicament, to go through the process like Jameis has done in leading his team at such a young age, it speaks wonders for a team. I mean, that is the most important position on the football field. And when your number one leader is coming from that position, setting the tone on and off the field, your chances of winning are multiplied by 10. So I'm just really excited about how he was able to combat the negativities, the things that transpired in his past, and was able to mature from that and go on and take care and handle the National Football League as a consummate pro. He's rubbed off on all of the players around him, and I'm just excited to see his growth. I know that in due time, with decisions like Coach Cutter has made to sit Martin and to kick off kick the tight end off the team. It's situations like that where people don't understand. Yes, they're great players, but if you do things that can become a hindrance to your football team, you're not an asset. And when your head man decides to delete it and eliminate it, it shows maturity and it shows growth. And I feel real comfortable under Coach Cutter's leadership that those guys are going to abide by the laws of the land in due time. Everybody will mature, and the Tampa Bay Bucs will be a force to reckon with in the next coming years.
Well, what do you see in the rest of the NFC South? You got the Atlanta Falcons at the top. Matty Ice is having an MVP year. And then the Saints, there's been some talk about them moving on from Sean Payton and Drew Brees, that era. And then the Panthers, nobody can really explain what's going on with them. A lot of fingers being pointed at Cam Newton for his attitude, especially the Super Bowl, not going for that fumble, and his people just questioning his leadership of that team. So what do you see in the rest of the NFC South?
Well, I really hope that the Atlanta Falcons can make some noise. Matty Ice has been around for a while, and he's a great quarterback, but he just hasn't been able to produce in the playoffs. And I know that he's a great quarterback, faced him plenty of times when I played. And when you have great players out there, you just want to see them do well. Guys like Matt Ryan. As far as Cam Newton goes, I trained with Cam Newton when he was training for the draft, and a lot of what I've seen is pretty much what comes with the league. You have a growth, maturity stage, and he's just got to learn how to mature. When you have a great defense playing around you, you have to know that your chances of winning multiply by 10 as well. And when you can add great play from the quarterback position as he's played, you have a dynamic chance of making some moves in the playoffs. But like I said, the most important position is that quarterback position, and you can lead your guys in the wrong way or the right way. And every time he pouts, every time he doesn't give 100% effort, that rubs off on his offense. And he doesn't have a lot of stellar offensive guys around him. So when your guy is in a funk, when your head guy is in a funk, those guys are really not capable of competing with the best of the world. So I don't look to Carolina to make any noise. As far as the New Orleans Saints, New Orleans, the city of New Orleans could not ask for anything greater than a Drew Brees and a Sean Payton. They did tremendous things for the city. This is a league where everybody experiences teams and coaches and players moving on, and I think it is about that time. But the fans are always, regardless of the season, how the season goes in New Orleans, the fans are always happy to see Drew Brees on the sideline. I can promise you that.
Well, you talked about liking what you see out of the Atlanta Falcons as we head towards the playoffs here. Obviously, in the NFC, Dallas Cowboys have wrapped up. They're going to be the 1 seed. They've been tremendous all year. You've seen what Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott have been able to do as rookies. And on the AFC side, right now, as is most years, Tom Brady and the Patriots look to have a strong hold on things. Is it as simple as that? Is it simple as, hey, we'll see the Patriots and Cowboys, or do you see things shaking out a different way here as the playoffs get started?
I think this is one of those years where it's anybody's game. You're always threatened by Tom Brady, who's there, but I think that if even the wild card teams, if they get a chance, I won a Super Bowl in New York with the Giants in 2012, and we were a wild card team, went on the road and made some noise, and the Giants have beat the Cowboys 2 times. So it's like regardless of how good you are, this year it seems like every good team will have a bad day, and that leads me not to really make any type of predictions of who can step out and take the world championship. So I really don't know at this point. I really am rooting for the Dallas Cowboys to have a freshman quarterback come in and reestablish himself. I'm always interested in new leaders, new role models in the National Football League. And when Russell Wilson came in, he just ignited the National Football League with positivity and just was a great thing for young kids to look at. And I think that, I know that when you look at Dak Prescott, and Ezekiel Elliott, when you look at those guys' demeanor, when you look at the way that they speak in interviews, you know that they're mature. You know that they're going to carry the torch the right way. They're going to lead young players to be great players by their footsteps. And you can do nothing but honor those guys and hope for the best for those young players.
Well, Michael, we can't thank you enough for coming on to talk to us today. I tell you what, we hope you have a wonderful New Year. Hopefully you have a great New Year's Eve spent down in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl. And hopefully LSU gets that big win for the SEC, gets the big win for the program for Coach O going forward, man. Hope you have a great time at the Citrus Bowl. Go Tigers. That's with an X, by the way. And we just can't thank you enough for coming on to talk to us today, man. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Always going to be a great day when I get to see my Tigers play.
Hey, absolutely. Have a great time, and Happy New Year to you, Michael. Appreciate it.
You too. Happy New Year, brother.
Huge thanks to Michael Clayton. He likes these Falcons going forward. Just the NFC, he played there. He knows it well. It was just great to have him on.
Yeah, it was, and a lot from him, a lot just really good to catch up with Michael, a guy that had a lot of promise in his career early on, and due to injuries and things, it was kind of derailed a little bit, but a lot of good insight from him, and we're glad to welcome him here on the Not For Long Pro Football Show, as we've done all year, bringing in the great guests to complement these guys and to compliment our special video correspondent, who's been Sean Salisbury. We talked with Sean last week about guys kind of mailing it in towards the end of the season, and we're going to go with our we've singled someone out. That's pretty hardcore for us. But yeah, you see it all over the league. You see what Denver,
the Jets,
the Denver's claiming not to mail it in. They say they're going to remember that Kansas City. They're going to remember that the Chiefs scored the Don Terry Poe, Tim Tebow, Hungry Pig touchdown over the top, whatever you want to call it. But with that being said, we want to go ahead and welcome and wish a happy new year to our special video correspondent. All year he's been on here on this very show, Sean Salisbury. Sean, what do you have for us this week?
All right, fellas, thanks. Hope that had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. And as we head into the final weekend of the regular season, let me talk a little bit about backup quarterbacks and their role and the believability you got to have in them. First and foremost, you think about if you're Jack Del Rio in Oakland and you're giving this speech not only in week 17 here, but also going into the playoffs, you say, well, can McGloin do the same things for me that Derek Carr? Of course not. The key is being able to convince your team and convince McGloin that he can do enough to win, because a backup's job is to be able to go in and win 2 or 3 games and not put the team in danger, in harm's way, to protect the football. Those are those things. So when people say, well, of course the Raiders aren't going to be the same. No, you're right. They're not. You don't take away great players at that position who have the ball in their hands 65 times a game and assume things are going to be the same. The key is psychologically, as a coach, convincing them. And the other side, whether it's a Tom Savage or whether it's a Matt Moore who's been in the league, these teams that are all headed to the playoffs, is their superstars even stepping up to another level. Whether it's the Raiders and Khalil Mack, whether it's a wide receiver in Miami and Jarvis Landry, whether it's an offensive tackle with the Texans or a wide receiver or the running game. All those. So when we talk about backups, yeah, would you like to have Brady and Rodgers and Alex Smith and those guys that have been down this road? Of course you would. But one of the big keys for a head coach and other teammates is believability and trust. That's why the guy gets paid, meaning the backup quarterback. So don't feel sorry for a team that it happens to. Yes, injuries happen. What you have to do as a coach and other players on that team is create the fact that the backup can do the job, and as a teammate, you got to play better than you've ever played in your damn life to get your team to the next level, because you lost what is your most important position, and now it's the backup's job to go earn his paycheck. Good luck to all of them and the starters. We'll talk to you guys in the new year.
Thanks to Sean Salisbury, Sean Smack Unfiltered, bringing it every week. And we're not done yet with you, sir. We've got the playoffs to go, the Super Bowl, and then you'll be off the clock, mister. But we've got these playoffs coming and Super Bowl picks. Who you got?
Well, as the playoffs get underway, we don't have all of our teams quite in here. We don't know where for instance, the Washington Redskins, Detroit Lions, where they're going to fall. Maybe Green Bay gets knocked out. That's going to be a factor, because I'd like to pick the Green Bay Packers right now into the Super Bowl to take on the New England Patriots. That's what I have right now. But Green Bay may miss the playoffs entirely, depending on what happens this Sunday. But I've got New England. I just don't think anyone's going to be able to go in there and unseat this team, even without Rob Gronkowski. Even with guys like Chris Hogan, Julian Edelman, at Danny Amendola at wide receiver. I don't love this receiving core, but they just get the job done. Hard to pick against New England right now.
It is, and I'm going to go a little bit off the wall here in the NFC. The AFC have got the New England Patriots. They're the New England Patriots. We've got the likes of McGloin and Matt Moore, Tom Savage, Alex Smith in here. Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers are really their own real competition, if we want to just break it down to that. So I think they get past. I think they're just on a mission. Brady has been all year since that suspension. Deflategate, forget that. I'm winning Super Bowl, making you hand that trophy to me. NFC, they're going to go against the Atlanta Falcons. I like what Matt Ryan has done this year. 34 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, MVP candidate, and Julio Jones will be back and healthy, raring to go, and I think that'll be too much. I don't think the Cowboys will be able to score with them, so I like Patriots and Falcons, with the Patriots coming away with another Super Bowl title.
Well, that's an interesting pick, Noah. This is our last show of the year 2016. We're going to move on into the playoffs and into 2017 next week, as we're going to look at the wild card round going into next week. A lot of exciting stuff coming up here on the Not For Long Pro Football Show. We can't thank you guys enough for joining us, checking us out. Remember, tweet us at GASN Sports. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Visit the website, GreatAmericanSportsNetwork.com. You can also contact us there. We got a little contact button for you to mention those concerns about our show, about the guests we're bringing on. You want Barry Sanders, you want Joe Montana, let us know. We want it all.
We'll make it happen, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the action this weekend and have a happy New Year's Day. No college football games on New Year's Day. Once again, it's an NFL party this Sunday on New Year's Day. Happy 2017.